Welcome to the last Friday Forum of the school year, and for some of us, the last Friday Forum of the rest of our lives. I know I'm sad too. But one day, if you're lucky, you get to come back and actually give one of these Friday Forums like we have today. We have Karen Short, who is a 2008 graduate and now Group Creative Director at Droga5, where she's done lots of remarkable things. But she's been kind enough today to make her forum all about us and the things that we should know as we prepare for internships, first jobs, second internships that we wish for jobs. It's going to be okay. And I know we have a lot of people who come through here and talk to us about what it's like in advertising in the real world. How do you make good choices? How do you find the path that's right for you? And those are great, but I think today is actually going to be a really special and important forum because it's going to be the last time we're going to get to hear anything like that for a while. And it's not often you get to sit back and reflect on some wisdom that is really relevant to what you're experiencing right now. Or when things go wrong and you don't know what to do. But it's also a really special forum because we're going to get to hear all of those things from one of our very own, Karen Short.
Thank you, Connor. Good morning, guys. As he said, I'm Karen Short, Group Creative Director at Droga5, and I am a VCU Brandcenter alum of 2008. Going on 10 years since I was in your seats, and I thought I'd take today to chat about what I've been up to and some of the stuff that I've learned along the way. I started when I was in your seats. I had a partner, Casey Rand. She was my copywriter partner, and we took spring break of second year to go travel. I don't know if anyone does this anymore, but we went to New York and San Francisco and tried to get into as many agencies as we could, and just to see what it's like and meet people and see where we wanted to work. And when we went to San Francisco, we went to Goodby Silverstein & Partners, and I ended up becoming a massive fan of their work. At the time, they were doing some really fantastic work. The Got Milk campaign, of course, is theirs and is legendary. If you guys don't know the original Aaron Burr spot, I would highly recommend looking it up. And they had evolved the campaign in really nice ways. On the top right, they, at the time I was looking at them, they did get the glass, which was a really cool interactive experience. They did work for eBay. There's a really lovely film about a toy boat. If you don't know that one, that's worth looking up too. And they did HP work. It was the U plus HP campaign that was kind of everywhere at the time, and really beautiful design and really high-class work. But there were a few things that were lesser known that I thought were really interesting and made me want to work there. And one of them was for Commonwealth Bank of Australia. They are in San Francisco, and how they got a bank in Australia, I have no idea, but they ended up actually playing off that in the work. In a really great way. So I'm going to play you the introduction spot from that campaign. Maybe. Maybe. We'll see. Might not.
The brave. The daring. We are the determined. We built a bank under the Southern Cross. Determined to rise, to thrive, determined to be different.
And Michael Baker, he kicked a lot of his own money to put that thing together. B-7 helicopters.
We've got goosebumps.
You like?
Oh, the tagline, that's interesting.
Okay. From the top then.
No.
Just the last 2 seconds.
Does anyone else want to say the whole thing again?
So it was a whole campaign. It almost became like a TV show. It was episodic, and did really well for them in Australia. Sorry, I don't know why the video. And there was another campaign at the time that I loved, which was the Haagen-Dazs Help the Honeybees campaign. I think people now know that the honeybees are dying, but at the time, no one knew that, and it was kind of like an awesome discovery by the strategists who were working on Haagen-Dazs, and 95% of the flavors that Haagen-Dazs serves are dependent on bees, so it was this really kind of nice merging of an ice cream company really championing a cause and trying to save the honeybees. Got huge attention, won the first green pencil, and it was really lovely. So there's a lot happening in a good bee that I loved, and I decided I wanted to work there. And I went back to San Francisco after spring break for like a wedding or something, and I was getting on the plane, and I saw this ponytail also getting on the plane. It's usually longer actually than this, but this is Jeff Goodby, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be trapped on a plane for 5 hours with Jeff Goodby, and I have my book with me. I had it on a thumb drive, because it was around graduation, and I was like, he's a captive audience. I have to do something about this. So I took note of where he was seating. He was in the first class, of course, and I went back to the back of the plane, and I had a flight attendant take my thumb drive with a note and what seat I was at and pass it to him. And then I waited like an excruciating hour. And he ended up coming back to me and saying that he liked my work and that he wasn't scared off by the weird nuttiness of what I just did. Thank God. So he was really sweet about it. And I think if I'd done it, don't do this ever to Rich Silverstein, you'd never get a job at Goodby if you did that to him. But Jeff was really nice. And so I kept talking to him, and not long after that I got an internship at Goodby Silverstein, which was awesome. And I got to touch a lot of different projects that way. And Goodby, the way they work, you get to work with different writers. So I ended up working with like a handful of writers over the course of almost 5 years, which was awesome. And eventually, I started eyeing another company. I started really loving what was happening at Droga5 in New York. And at the time, the Puma After Hours Athlete film had come out and was doing amazing, and the Bing decoded Jay-Z work was out and doing amazing in the award shows. And if you guys haven't seen those, definitely look them up. And then the UNICEF TAP project was a Droga favorite that they kind of kept evolving over the years, over and over, just kept doing awesome work off of that platform. So I was loving that. But then there were a couple things also that they were doing that weren't as famous, but I really respected. There was a art director who invented this product called Help, I've Cut Myself and I Want to Save a Life. And the idea here was really simple. So if you want to be a marrow donor, it's this long, complicated process, and people don't do it because it's so complicated. But all you need is a drop of blood and a registration. So his thought was, let's make a Band-Aid into a registration format. So if you have cut your finger, all you have to do is use Band-Aid as your fix, and then you cut it, or then you send it in, and you're now registered as a marrow donor. So brilliant, so brutally simple as an idea, but did really well and saved lives. And then also at the time, Droga5 had kind of an internal company called DD that was a bit of like a think tank for communication ideas, like any kind of product ideas, not advertising. And they ended up making Thunderclap. I don't know if you guys have heard of Thunderclap, but it's grown since then, and it's pretty massive now. Millions of people use it. And the thought is really simple. It's basically, if we want to make an impact on social media, what if we all say the same thing at the same time? And then that'll get more attention, it'll get us trending, it'll get more eyeballs in our feeds, and so this is a tool that helps do that. So you kind of all sign up for it, and it all spreads at the same time. And a lot of nonprofits use it. We've used it for a number of clients. And so it's a standalone thing now, and the fact that Droga was kind of experimenting in this space, I thought was pretty amazing, not normal for an ad agency. And something, David Droga is kind of known for trying things out like this and experimenting. So I was at Goodby, and I ended up being a Cannes young lion and going to Cannes. And I was at a bar at 2 a.m. At this gutter bar in the street, and I saw the back of this guy's head, and I decided it would be a great idea to accost him, just like I did with Jeff Goodby, and talked to him, told him how much I loved Droga and how much I respected the work, and ended up, not long after that, moving to New York to start at Droga5. So, moral of the story is, don't be afraid to be creepy. Don't be afraid to stalk people. No, but really, if you know who you want to work for, if you know what work you love out in the world, find out who did it and go ask them for a job. It's the easiest way to get to do work under someone that you want to learn from, which is so important at the stage you guys are in, or always actually. So, in 22 days, some of you will graduate. I got the math right. And yeah, I heard I was the last speaker, so I wanted to chat with you guys about what I wish I'd known when I was leaving ad school. Kind of being in the business for a while and knowing how productions work and how clients work, and there's some things I wish I'd known earlier. And the first one is that being scared is good. It's not really something that you want in a job, that it's good to be scared and that's part of the job, but if you're doing it right and if you're pushing the boundaries on things and trying ideas that don't really have a blueprint for how to get them done, this will happen. You'll be terrified, you will be presenting to clients something that you hope is possible but might not be possible. So getting used to that kind of feeling and that fear is actually a great thing. So you'll find yourself saying to clients, sure, we can do this, even if you know that that could be a lie. So I'm not saying we lie to our clients, but it's a responsible lie. It's an educated guess that we can do this thing. So we'll say, yes, we can remove women from ads, magazines, posters, and radio across New York City on one day. Sure, we'll make that happen. Yes, we can create scientifically legitimate social experiments, even though we've never done that before ever. Yes, we can create a campaign where Ellie Kemper crashes other brands' ads. We'll go make that happen for you. No problem. But actually, all of these we can't guarantee are possible. There's a level of risk in all of them. So this first one, yes, we can remove women from ads all across New York City, was for the Clinton Foundation. They had briefed us on an International Women's Day campaign for them. And this was before Hillary ran, so the Clinton Foundation was still wonderful as an organization. And so I'll show you what we ended up doing for that campaign.
The Clinton Foundation's No Ceilings Report is a massive collection of data on the progress women and girls have made in the last 20 years. Almost 1 million stats on health, education, safety, and more say that despite some gains, gender equality has not been achieved in the US or abroad. We wanted young Americans to explore the data. There was just one hurdle. They don't think inequality is a problem. If we wanted them to engage with the report, we needed them to understand the truth. When it comes to gender equality, we're not there yet. On International Women's Day, we hijacked the media people see every day and turned it into a message they couldn't ignore. In an unprecedented and colossal effort, the world's most powerful brands, leaders, and icons came together to transform New York City overnight, removing women from the media and replacing them with a URL, notthare.org.
Some of the most iconic female faces in the world are missing, gone from the front covers of glossy magazines, wiped out from their billboards.
Some of the top brands and magazines yanked women
from their ads. Look at that itself, a blank page.
In New York City, women simply disappeared.
It really had everybody talking. Dominated social trends all day. India to Turkey and Colombia. Celebrities including Cameron Diaz and Lupita Nyong'o changed their profile pictures to this avatar that symbolizes how women are not there in terms of gender equality. Thousands of women and men
replace their social media pictures with blank silhouettes.
All this social buzz drove people to notthere.org, where 5 famous women were not there to tell you about the report. From there, you can dive deeper into the data or take immediate action. Within hours of the launch, Not There dominated every newsroom and social feed, making it the #1 trending campaign on International Women's Day. But the best part? Hundreds of thousands of people spent time learning the data, proving the world is ready for a change.
We're not there yet, but together we can be.
So to pull that off, sorry. Like I said, there was to my knowledge, no one's done anything like this before. At least no one at Droga knew the best blueprint for this. So it was everyone piling on, doing the grunt work, calling, I don't know, we called like 300 companies, and it's just cold call pitching, making decks for them, asking them if they have ads out, if there's women in them, if we can remove them, if the women will allow us to. For every woman that we removed, we had to get their permission. So it's kind of voluntarily asking for like 200 more clients. And that's, I guess, what happens when you try something that's not in the normal, like, pitch a script, go produce. There's not a process set up for that, and there were moments that we almost switched to plan B. It almost failed. We went into a meeting literally to tell the client that we were going to have to back off because it wasn't working, and we got a call from Beats that we could use their Times Square ad as we went into the meeting, and then that turned it around. So it's terrifying at points when you try these things, but when it works and it really pays off, then it's that much more rewarding. And to be trending on International Women's Day, to really have tens of thousands of people interact with your campaign was pretty incredible. So it's worth it in the end, but being scared is part of the process. And bulldozing your own way is a thing you can do. So don't think that you can't. If no one at your agency if no one knows what to do in this situation, if no one has a plan, that's okay. You can figure it out. The second one that we've said was, yes, we can create scientifically legitimate social experiments, even though we've never done that before. And that was for Prudential. We did a campaign called the Challenge Lab that was basically looking into why our brains are wired against us saving for retirement and all the reasons for that. And that is, let me play this first, show you the campaign.
We all know retirement is coming. And yet, no matter how hard we try, many of us still find ourselves dangerously unprepared. The question is, why? And the answer starts in a surprising place. It turns out, one of the biggest obstacles we face is the way our brains are wired.
We have a brain that was evolved in a very different time. It was never designed to think about tomorrow because for our ancestors, there weren't that many tomorrows to think about.
So we created a place to understand why we do what we do. Because only by seeing what's behind our challenges can we prepare for the future ahead. Introducing the Challenge Lab. We partnered with leading behavioral economists, psychologists, and financial experts to show why we're impulsive, why we follow others, and how our emotions affect our decisions. And most importantly, how this affects the way we save and invest. We created original experiments.
What if we could fight procrastination with procrastination?
Instead of getting your coffee, would you mind giving me a couple of bucks towards my retirement?
Are you kidding?
Welcome. So we're here today to consider this whole idea of what it would be like if now you were already retired.
I do not think I can be hypnotized.
3, 2, 1.
And to show how we're all living longer, we built an 1,100 square foot wall, brought 400 people together, and asked a simple question.
How old is the oldest person you've known?
Probably my grandfather, he's 93.
Then we gave them each a sticker and had them show us.
We've created over 10 films so far.
Notice they take off their hats.
Sometimes everybody does the wrong thing.
And over 60 interactive pieces about everything from our impulsiveness to our online search habits, to how babies today are more likely to live to 100 than have blue eyes or blonde hair. And we didn't just get behind the problems, we provided solutions. The Challenge Lab has only just begun, but it's already become a place for leading academics to publish their work. A place for ideas to be shared online and off. And a place where people who may not have ever understood finance start to understand something even more important, themselves.
Future didn't seem like future, it felt more tangible. Like there's a fire under before now.
Because only when you look at a problem in new ways can you come up with new solutions.
A lot of pieces to that campaign, but the core, the heart of it is that we made experiments. We went out and with professors and academics created unique new experiments that discovered new things about how our brains work. And that takes a lot for a client to sign off on. We don't know going into it what the results are going to be, obviously, and if it's going to be significant. If it's going to work out the way we want it to, it could go the wrong way. It almost did, actually, in a couple of them. But that campaign won a Cannes Lion Titanium, and I think that's because it is very earnestly going into the world and trying to figure out more for people. It's not what a normal campaign would do, is like take the research that's out in the world and regurgitate it as an ad. But we were really trying to find out new things and add to the conversation. And it was cool. It was like a college course. Like there were 4 of us creatives, and we were like teaching ourselves social psychology. And it was pretty intense, but in the end, super rewarding, and it worked. So trying stuff that you're not an expert in is a thing you can do, and don't be afraid to do that. It's actually one of the benefits of, in my opinion, being in advertising, is you get to be like an expert in everything that your clients are doing. It's kind of like continuing to be a student in a way. So the third one I mentioned, yes, we can create a campaign where Ellie Kemper crashes other brands' ads. This was for Chase. The Freedom Unlimited credit card was a cashback card. And this one, I actually can't play because it, didn't work out. So our pitch was, let's have Ellie Kemper go through other ads and say, whatever this ad is selling, you can buy with your card and get cash back on. And not just with ad selling, whatever the woman's wearing in the ad, the cardigan that she's wearing, or the dog's collar. So we had like 4 or 5 partners on board that were ready to go, and it looked like it was going to work. And when you bring on other brands, inherently it's a risk that it's outside of your control. They can decide not to do it. And that's what happened with 4 out of the 5 of them. So we had one ad, which is not a campaign, so unfortunate. And then we had a backup spot that didn't rely on brand partners, and that's what went out into the world. And it actually did great, and the client was happy, and it worked out okay. But for us, creatively, it didn't come to fruition the way we had planned. And that when you're doing these things, when you're pitching these ideas that you can't guarantee can come to fruition, that's the risk, right? So failing is a thing you can do. It's a thing you should do, and you will do. So just knowing that earlier than later, I think, is helpful. Another thing I wish I'd known earlier than later was that your work can be your cause. I think I thought, I'm signing up for a job that clients are going to be assigned to me and I'm going to sell their stuff. But there's actually way more good that can be done than you think. And it's not that clients come to you. You can also like seek out opportunities. And get behind certain clients that you feel good about, what missions you support. And that's something that Casey and I forgot to mention that Casey and I reunited at Droga. So we became creative directors at Droga, actually the first female team of creative directors at Droga, and became GCDs recently. But we were working on actually a different brief for a real client, and we had an idea to crowdfund the wage gap. And we ended up bringing that to fruition and creating the project out of thin air, basically.
It's 2015. Robots have feelings, our eyeballs are computers, yet women still just earn 78 cents to every man's dollar?
That is wrong. It's an embarrassment. Women deserve equal pay for equal work.
Yet young women are still apathetic and misinformed about the wage gap. The National Women's Law Center wanted to raise awareness about its persistence, clarify its causes, and get young women pissed about the wage gap. Our strategy? Communicate the absurd amount of money they're losing just for having a hoo-ha.
The Equal Payback Project has a tongue-in-cheek goal of crowdfunding enough money to actually close the pay gap. If they hit their fundraising goal, every woman in America gets a check, but don't run to your mailbox just yet. That goal is nearly $30 trillion.
EqualPaybackProject.com's ludicrous goal exposed women to the harsh reality of the wage gap, while demystifying it with adorable infographics. And we got a very special lady to help drive people there.
Sarah Silverman, who upon learning the average woman earns $11,000 less a year than her male counterparts, offers this solution in her viral hit, the Equal Payback Project.
That's why I'm taking matters into my own hands. I'm becoming a dude. In the grand scheme of things, it's way less expensive than the money I'll lose having a pussy.
Sorry, forgot to tell you.
It's not exactly safe for work.
In just 3 short days, with no media spend, the Equal Payback Project breathed new life into an old conversation. And we made history by putting the first prosthetic penis in an ad. Did we raise $30 trillion? Of course not. But the money we did raise went to the National Women's Law Center to fight for equal pay on behalf of women everywhere. And even more importantly, we got the issue trending with youngins all over the country.
I'll take it. Does this penis make me look fat?
So that was a project we invented. We decided we liked the idea, we fleshed it out, we got support within Droga to pursue it. We wrote a script for Sarah Silverman, pitched it to her, she got on board, and then we were like, we're going to raise some money for this, who's going to be our client, who we're going to give it to. And the National Women's Law Center was the preeminent group at the time working on that issue. So we brought this package to them, and they were terrified of the prosthetic penises, but they were like, okay, sure, we'll take it. And so that kind of thing where you guys have side ideas, you have ideas in ad school that you should bring into the industry and try to get made, because it's possible. We're really lucky to work within kind of platforms that can be heard and with people who can help you make it. So there's so many creative people, so many technologists and doers that it's not that out of the realm of possibility to get it made, so you should try. So creating your own briefs is a thing you can do, and I highly recommend doing it. The next one, so obviously you can do this with real clients too. We worked on Under Armour, the I Will What I Want campaign for the women's brand of Under Armour, and this is a good example of where, yes, we're selling shoes and sports bras and yoga pants, but there's an opportunity to do something better, to do something that's more of a positive influence in the world. And that can be incredibly rewarding. So this is the I Will What I Want campaign.
Dear candidate, unfortunately, you have the wrong body for ballet, and at 13, you are too old to be considered.
I will what I want. That ad
ad for Under Armour is so powerful. Under Armour is probably best known for commercials featuring football players, but now it is using a ballerina to show women can do anything. 5.5 million views. 6 million hits and counting.
The most powerful ad targeting women this year by far redefines what a sports commercial is.
I Will What I Want was created to change Under Armour's uber-masculine image by celebrating all women, defying expectations, and ignoring the noise of outside judgments. After launching the campaign with the personal, true story of ballerina Misty Copeland on TV, in cinema, online, and out of home, proving that will trumps fate, we next wanted to show will beats the noise of outside judgments. So we signed a woman we knew would be judged, supermodel Gisele Bündchen. We announced the unlikely partnership, and as we anticipated, everyone had something to say. We used people's real comments in our TV ads. Meanwhile, our web experience became a live social experiment. A custom engine scraped the web for more comments being made about Gisele. For the first time, the entire social discussion about a single person was happening on one website in real time. The latest comments were rendered directly into the online film, making it a different film with every play.
The new face of Under Armour's I Will What I Want campaign, Gisele Bündchen.
Will What You Want is creating what you want, is not listening to the outside noise and just manifesting what it is that you want in your life. Put one leg up.
No.
I Will What I Want made uber-masculine Under Armour a symbol of female athletic aspiration, generating 5 billion media impressions and $35 million in earned media. Sales are up 28%, and Under Armour is now the second largest sports apparel brand in the US. It's the most successful campaign in the brand's 16-year history, with a message every woman can make her own. I will what I want.
So, encouraging women to feel empowered is, of course, important. I think even encouraging women to be athletic is actually incredibly important. There's crazy statistics that 95% of female CEOs are athletes, previous athletes. It's just a really good avenue to create powerful women. So this felt incredibly good to work on, and that's where you can work on things through your agencies. Sorry. And that can lead to you being fulfilled by advertising. That is a thing that you can do. You'll get into the industry and you'll see that a lot of people don't believe this. There's an incredible amount of cynicism. And it's a really hard business. I don't want to sugarcoat it. Like, the clients will be a slog and it'll be really hard. But what I've found is if you can try, more so than not, to work on briefs and on companies whose mission you agree with, it'll continue to feel rewarding, and you'll feel like you're helping the right people get the right exposure in the world, because that's what our talents bring, right? So I hope that you all feel that you can be fulfilled by advertising. And the last thing that I wish I had realized earlier is that you should really only present work you want to make. This sounds obvious, but it'll get really hard. Like, when you have a time crunch and the client is putting so many guardrails around you that you feel like you can't do anything good, you'll settle. You'll present something that's maybe not as good as you want it to be, or kind of second rate, and that is what the client will buy. That's just how they are. Most all clients will not do the risky thing, and they'll buy that, and then it'll be part of your life for the next few months to make the thing that you weren't that excited about, and that's when advertising starts to become less fun. So if you can, stick to this and only present work you want to make, only present to creative directors what you feel excited about, and only present to clients what you feel excited about. They can't make you do bad things, and that is key. You will have a great career if you can stick to this. This next one I worked on, it was actually the first big thing I worked on at Goodby. It was Hotel 626. Doritos campaign, and I worked on it with a guy named Mark Sobier, who was actually my VCU mentor. He was a creative director that is amazing. Now he's at Arnold. But he said that any of his success he has had in this business, he attributes to his ability to call out his own bullshit and other people's bullshit. So if someone's presenting him something that he's like, I wouldn't watch that, or I don't want to interact with that, he is really brutally honest about that, and that has served him so well. So he is a great litmus test for only presenting stuff you want to make. And this project was really us being true to what we would want out in the world and what we think would be fun.
When Doritos brought back 2 flavors from the dead, something dark came back with them. Hotel 626 is only open from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. You're living a nightmare. In a 3D world never before seen in a website, and have to do whatever it takes to get out. Like taking a picture of a psychopathic maid, singing a demon baby to sleep, and making it out of a madman's cell. Hotel 626 uses your webcam to sneak a picture of you. Your one salvation is a phone call on your actual cell phone that gives you directions on how to get out.
Quick, turn right.
Only by facing your darkest fears can you make it out alive.
Websites have come a long way since this was made, but at the time it was loved and people ate it up, and it actually sold chips. It worked. And that's a good lesson for doing things that people want to consume, doing content that doesn't feel like an ad can work. And this is a great Leo Burnett quote: love, honor, and obey your hunches. If you can do that and really gut check it yourself and ask yourself if this is something that you would want to interact with, it'll go a long way. And it gets hard with clients, of course. If one thing is clients won't let you do something because of price, right? So that the production cost can be a giant hindrance. And so this next one is a good example of just doing something for like $2 that we could, and getting it out in the world and helping it have a chance to live because it's so easy, make it easy for the client. So this one is quick, but we did actually get this on TV.
There are people watching this ad right now at a bar with the sound off, wondering what the hell is going on.
So this is a David Droga quote, "We are better than they are bad." Might be a little confusing because it came in an email at 2 a.m. From him while he was on vacation. This was actually just a month ago. We won a pitch, and it was really good work. They bought really good work, and then a week later they proceeded to kill it all. So we let him know, and this was his reply. And I think what he's saying is really profound, if I'm reading it correctly. We are better than they are bad. So if the client has bad instincts or is putting guardrails around things that are hurting themselves, then that's up to us to overcome that and to still make something good and to give them something worthy. So this is classic David Droga. He is the eternal optimist, and no matter what, no matter how hard or how boring a client or a product is, he thinks he can make something of it and turn it around and make it meaningful. And that's obviously why he's done so well. But I think it's a really important thing for us to remember when we're, it goes to this idea of only present work you love. It's really not an excuse if the client is making it hard on you. There's always ways. It's the beauty of being a creative, that there's a million different solves and there's a million different ways out. So remembering that is important. And this is, I don't know if anyone reads Hey Whipple, Squeeze This anymore, but this is a really great quote from it that's really true. About 20% of your time in the advertising business will be spent thinking up ads, 80% will be spent protecting them, and 30% will be doing them over. So that 80% protecting them is the bulk of it, and It's key. It's hard. It's like going through a war sometimes, but that's part of the job. And so I think I can't emphasize enough how it really does get hard, and the cynicism is kind of running amok in the industry, and that's why it's so important for you guys to seek out the opportunities that you want. Don't be passive about what you're working on. Really try and pursue the things that you will find more rewarding and will keep this being worth it, going through all the issues that come with clients. Someone told me this a while back. It's a Henry Kissinger quote, who's not in advertising, but it's perfect for advertising. Do the most important thing you can think of doing every year, and your career will take care of itself. And I found this really helpful as like all right, let's just do this year by year. Let's do something really powerful every year. And that momentum, this business is so much about momentum, but that, if you can stick to it, should get you there. So there are a lot of VCU alumni at Droga, and I've asked a lot of them, or not a lot of them, but like a third of them, because there's like 20, what they wish they'd known leaving art school to tell you guys today. And Casey, who is my partner, said that she wishes she'd known that it takes a while to get good, that you'll get it as you go along. Don't worry about the learning curve. It can take some time to really get to the good stuff, so don't worry if that's the case. Ray Savio, he's the ECD at Droga, class of 2005, and he said, I wish I'd known that it all evens out. He was talking about the stage that you guys are in, or second years are in right now, where you're kind of like, it's intense and there's whispering about who's getting to meet with who and who's interviewing with who, and that can feel really stressful. And Ray was saying, over the last decade or so, he's seen the chips fall where they're supposed to, right? And people end up where they're supposed to, and it's not worth worrying about so much right now in this moment, because over time, people land where they should. George Bennett, he's head of digital strategy at Droga5, class of 2007, and he said, I wish I'd known that you don't have to jump around. As long as you're learning, it's okay to stay. He stayed at RGA for the first 7 years of his career, and he just felt weird seeing all his classmates like hop around every year. Felt like he should be doing that, but he actually was getting great opportunities at RGA, and he's now been at Droga for like 5+ years, so he's clearly doing really well. And it's definitely something, I agree, I've been in longer stints at places than the average person, and I think it served me well, and it's definitely okay. You don't need to jump around, don't feel like you need to jump around all the time. Aaron McGann, he's Group Strategy Director at Droga5, class of 2007, and he said take an internship if you're really into the place. I can't agree with that more. I am so grateful that I took the internship at Goodby, even though obviously I wanted full-time. If it's the people you want to learn from and the place you want to be at, then that's more valuable than you can build from the internship to the full-time job. He also said, this is more for first years, but right now when you're in ad school, your brain is like a Ferrari, and you should take it for a spin. It's when you get to the real world that clients will try to rein it in. So right now, you have no constraints, sky's the limit. In ad school, you should really stretch it and see what you're capable of, because it only gets harder once you're in the industry. And then Tim Gordon, ECD at Droga, class of 2008, he said, take more time to enjoy Richmond, Virginia. And quality over quantity in your book. Don't go around trying to like flesh out a giant book with a lot of pieces. If you have a handful of really solid pieces, that's all you need. It's really quality over quantity. And lastly, one more thought from Jeff Goodby. Be brave. We're all going to be fired in the end by people or time. Thank you, guys. Anybody have any questions?
Hi, I'm Jack McNamara, first year copywriter.
Hey.
So you're talking a lot about putting up guardrails and only presenting, clients putting up guardrails and only presenting the work that you're excited about. God, I'd love to hear you talk more about that, because I've definitely gotten into a few of those sometimes.
it's hard.
Yeah, no, it's like, I feel like I've had to present work that's like, not totally fleshed out, or like, this is what I want to do, or like, time ran out and whatever. It's like, I just can't go in there and like, say, I'll do it next time,
It's the time crunch is a thing that plagues our business, and it hurts the work. And I would just say it's your right to stick up for more time wherever you can. Obviously, that's really hard. But I do think as much as you can, don't give anyone anything. Like, try not to give them the things that they are just trying to get you to do real quick. Try to give them the bigger stuff. Try to, like, make it more than it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, if they're asking you for banners, try to do banner plus an interactive idea, or because obviously there are some briefs where it's small and it's not going to be award-winning, obviously, and that can be the case. But wherever you can, try to take that extra time. It's hard.
Thank you.
I'm curious why you think places like Grad and Droga are putting out such good work. Like, what dynamics as an agency foster the most creative?
How it happens?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my theory on those two places in particular is the leadership. They're really creatively led, and Jeff Goodby and Rich Silverstein and David Droga are so clear in their ask for good work to be number one priority. And I think that's probably the main reason. But it bleeds down, right? Like, if they'll invest more in certain things, like the Equal Payback project that Casey and I did would only get invested into if the agency was supporting that kind of thing. And it was more important, the creative that we get out of it, than making money. We did not make money off that. But I don't know if that's true in all good agencies. There's probably other formats, but that I would say for Goodby and Droga is the case.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Elaine, I'm a 40th year copywriter. Can we go back to the production on that amazing Clinton? Now, you didn't cover the city. You had to wait for approvals. You had to have materials ready to go up immediately. Could we just talk a little bit more about the logistics of that, because it's pretty amazing.
Oh, it was insane. Well, first of all, a lot of it was billboards, a lot of it's out of home, and they aren't used to, like, I need it to change on this day. It's not like a thing they hear very often, so you have to say, no, I need you to switch out the creative on that day, and we're going to provide a million different versions of the files. It gets really granular, but I would say the most tricky part was actually getting the permission of everybody, because it was like a web of things we had to check, boxes we had to check.
So did the people who agreed to be your partners, did they put up the work, or you went around and did all of that?
We did it. That was part of the pitch. We'll do this. You don't have to do anything. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which helped get people on board.
Could you talk a little bit about what it's like to sell your work when you go into a client? I think it needs to be more than laying it out on the table and everybody immediately assuming it's building. Because I've been on the other side and seen good work presented well and good work presented badly.
Oh, absolutely. It depends on the client, of course. It's different. That's actually the main thing, is getting to know your client and getting to know what their priorities are and serving it to them the way that they'll think about it. But I would say something we've learned a lot is the simplicity is really key. I think people get, especially when there's so many pieces these days, like with all the formats and all the social media, and it can get really big and messy, and that does not help sell the work, even though, yes, those pieces are going to be there. We've really been trying to condense and consolidate so that it's like a nugget that you're approving first, and then we'll get into the details, and I think that's been really successful for us, if that makes sense.
What advice do you have for us as we progress throughout our careers, from being juniors to
GCDs?
If you can only present work you love, I think that I've figured out the key to advertising. It's going to be really hard, but if you can stick to that, it'll work. And I attribute some of the success I've had to getting to work under the people that I want to work under, the people that are doing the stuff that I find interesting. So I guess you guys are in that phase, like as we speak, choosing the people. And I would say do the research and really get into who's behind what and find the people that are behind the things you like, you know?
How much one-on-one time did you have with David Droga and Jeff Goodby, and is that unrealistic now compared to that?
Interesting. I would say, well, yeah, so at Goodby, I had not like a ton, but Jeff Goodby will weigh in on, actually David works the same way. They'll like weigh in on certain things that they care about more. They kind of pick and choose what they need to be involved in more. So I've been lucky to be on a lot of that stuff. And so you will get some one-on-one time with them. And that, I don't know if Jeff still works that way, but David is gonna always work that way. He's never gonna step back and be a chairman who doesn't touch the work. He'll always like have his hands in some things. It's just you want to get on those things that he's involved in, you know?
Can I just, it's kind of naive, even after all these years. You figure you work at Goodby, you work at Droga, that it's going to be just good work, and clients are there to just eat up the good work, and you just throw it out there and you get it produced. So you still have to fight, no matter where you are, and there's still that issue. I just want everybody to be aware that that's also part of your job.
That's huge, yeah. But even the people that you think are doing like amazing work and it must be so easy for them, they must have the good clients. It's not the case. Like everyone is dealing with the same slog, and you know it's all about pushing and caring and continuing to try because a lot of people will get so tired that they stop trying to do that, and that's when you start doing the work that doesn't feel as exciting. I think that's a massive point, to be honest. Like it's not that Goodby or Droga have attracted new clients that didn't exist anymore. They're the same clients that go from agency to agency. It's just how you handle them.
So one or two more?
Yeah.
Do you have any goals or aspirations this year, or maybe in the coming years, of what you'd like to do with your career, where you're at now?
Well, it's selfish, but like as much as I can, I want to keep doing pro bono and kind of cause-related work. I think that's become something that just feels like my goal is to always have that be a part of the mix of what I'm working on. I obviously can't be everything. It's not what we have bought into. But that's my goal, and to work on clients, like I said, work on clients that you support. That can be a little tricky, like especially when you're a junior and it feels weird to say, no, I don't want to work on that client because I don't like what they stand for. It's always your right to say that, but it can be harder at the beginning and then easier as you get further along to have the right to pick and choose.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Hey, so you talked earlier about how it's kind of okay to be creepy, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to know your thoughts on the two kids from, I believe it was Miami, that recently got an interview with Droga for making those videos. Directly, like talking directly to the recruiter.
To Chloe, yeah.
Because I know she had to like take down your Twitter for a little bit, and it seemed like it was, I just want to know your thoughts.
Oh, I haven't spoken to people on the ground about it since it happened, but generally it was really supported. Like people were impressed and weren't weirded out, didn't think it was creepy. But yeah, I haven't talked to her about it actually since I didn't hear her Twitter got taken down.
I mean, it might be back up, but like immediately it was put on like private, like once
Really?
it got kind of things.
Huh, interesting. I'll investigate.
Can you talk about a good experience or your favorite experience working with a client? Not necessarily just the client's work, but your experience actually interacting with them?
More on like a personal level?
More on a personal, just a work relationship, kind of how that happened. I'm a CBM, so thinking about working with creators from the client side, how is that best for you?
I don't know, I think there's a lot of like basics where you should spend time with the client outside of meetings. Like with the Chase client, we went to the day after inauguration, we like took a bus down with her to DC and did the Women's March together. Like doing things together is very helpful, of course, to be more friendly. But I would actually say it gets easier after you've gone through the first round of work with them, because it's like going through a war a bit. Like you know each other so well in going through that process that you can, after that, like push them even more. You have that kind of relationship to build off of. So yeah, don't be afraid to like keep pushing them. It's easy to get comfortable, right? Be like, oh, we're friends, I don't want to rock the boat. But that's actually the perfect time to try to get more out of them, if you can.
Sure. What advice do you have for landing at an agency like Droga if grad school is just not an option?
And you want to be creative?
Yeah, copyright.
So if you can't do the Brandcenter for a book?
Yeah. Well, no, like if you have your own book, like I graduated from VCU Advertising last December, so just not Brandcenter.
Well, it's totally possible for you to do a good job. I mean, I think it depends on the rigor of a Brandcenter type program usually results in better books, but it doesn't mean that's always the case. You could very well have the book right now to do it. You should show it to me.
Since this is the last forum, and the last question I'd like to ask you for those graduating and those going to second year and those in undergrad is, what is the one thing you took with you from Brandcenter that helped you the most? Don't mean to put you on the spot, but...
I mean, I think the beauty of Brandcenter is the practice you get to know yourself and how you, sorry, there's a lot of this is creative. Sorry, apologies for that, because it's mostly that perspective. But knowing how you concept, and that going into the working world, I already know what works for me. I already know what I need to do to get into good ideas. And I don't think you can get that anywhere else without going through that process. I think you'd have to learn on the job, and then it would be that much harder. So the rigor of Brandcenter helped me get that solid before going in, which is invaluable.
Thank you.
Thank you.